Team the vote.
Court is in session with Ryan in Sacktown on If You Don't Like That. Now, Ryan in Sacktown.
Oh, must be Ryno.
Don't act like you're not impressed.
Don't act like you're not impressed by Monty McNair and this trade deadline that they were able to pull off. The Kings make another move before the deadline. They are in Portland tonight looking to make a right from a wrong of 48 minutes of, 24 minutes of really bad basketball against Orlando last night. Guess what? Jonas, whatever you want to call him. I call him traditional. Jonas Valanciunas. He will be available for the Kings. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about the latest acquisition, Jake LaRavia. What's he about? The Kings send out Colby Jones and Alex Len, so they will be undermanned. Not really, actually, now that I think about it, because you are going to have Jonas there. You got to forgive me. We have done probably like 30 hours of content, and I've loved every second of it. Thank you all so much for being around and really supporting this channel and taking the ride with us. Mark, light the beam. Let's go. Indeed. Cristobal, what's up, my man? How's it cooking? Nothing is, well, actually, the wife is cooking right now. She's making pork buns. Pork buns, yes. I got a little secret to that. I'll share it on the other side. What's for dinner? Pork buns. Not till later, though. I do not eat until after all the shows are done. I just can't eat during shows. You're at Bennett's. Hell yes. Which location are you at? Which one? Let me know. And let them know that you're watching. Yeah, okay, I'll fill you in on what's for dinner on the other side. We'll also talk about this Portland team. They are playing extremely good basketball. They've won 9 of their last 10. They're starting to figure it out, or at least as of late, they have figured it out. What's it mean for the Kings? Remember, Portland kind of kicked their tails last time they played. It was the day after Thanksgiving in Portland. So we'll hit that as well. New look Kings. Let's get after it. Second game with Zach LaVine in the lineup. And I'm going to tell you the one lineup change that I think the Kings absolutely have to make to win this game. All on the other side. Welcome in. Pregame show right here on If You Don't Like That.
Grant and Ryan, break it down. It's Sacktown, we're the crown.
Needs to be more aggressive on the offensive end, but this is the kind of
Williams, the D-Hawk.
You play
to win the game.
You play to win the game. This is such a big game tonight to me because you either win and you stay above 500 or you lose and you go below 500. I don't want to see this team go under 500. I don't think it is a good thing. Well, obviously it's not a good thing, but I'm on the record saying after they got back above 500 that I didn't think they'd go below it again the rest of the season. Hopefully, not because I want to be right. I hope for this team and I hope for all of you as fans of this team that happens tonight. It's going to take a heck of an effort, but I would sure as hell expect this team to look much better tonight than they looked last night. It's first game back from a long road trip. You're integrating a new piece in Zach LaVine. Also, these guys were just it was a weird day, to be honest with you. Basketball players are creatures of habit. And here's the other thing that's weird that's going on. And nobody said this, and I'm not going to make up an excuse, but with what happened with Luka, and especially with Fox moving, I'm sure some of these Kings, some of these guys that felt like, yeah, I'm probably not going anywhere, sure it was in the back of their head to a degree. So the fact that the deadline has passed, we do not have to listen to this anymore. We're going to retire it probably until we'll retire this until free agency, but I think we'll bring it back.
Live in Sacramento, Sacramento, there I go.
So our guy that does the graphics, really good dude. Appreciate him. I must have been wearing the sweatshirt when he converted my picture to that graphic. And by the way, that looks nothing like me. What is he doing? Anyways, no, just kidding. Shout out to you. Appreciate you, Justin. Hope everybody's doing good. What's happening? What you doing? Where you at? Bring Jonas to Bennett. Jonas, yes, I think he would enjoy Bennett. Get him and Domas, maybe get Peja over there as well. Be a damn good meal. Ishmael, thank you very much for the super chat. Love this show. Thanks for the extra content. It's been my pleasure. Look, I love doing this kind of stuff, and this has been the plan all along for the channel. To really grow a second show, have multiple personalities, and the only reason that we're at the point where we're able to do it is because of the demand. And that's because all of you have been tuning in. The viewership has been absolutely overwhelming. So thank you, thank you, thank you. I cannot say it enough. You all bring the content as much as I do. So this is kind of a tennis match. We hit it back and forth, and sometimes we have strays. Sometimes we have like those exploding golf balls when PK tunes in and chimes in, but it's a fun show. Thank you for being here. Appreciate everybody. Okay, as for dinner, my family does this like thing called this thing, like it's not known. We do Dinnerly, and I actually recommend it. Dinner, if you're going to do any of those services, we've tried most of them. Dinnerly is the best one, but we do Dinnerly. So we get a little taste of everything. We try different things. My wife's going a little bit out of the box tonight. She's making pork buns. Pork buns. So we'll see how they turn out. Since we're talking food, John Finch, no need to put in what you're having. We know it revolves around asparagus, but everybody else, what are you munching on tonight as we start to really dig into this Portland team, dig into what the Kings need to do? We're going to go to the whiteboard. We're going to look at some of the stuff I would expect to see the Kings run now that you've got Valanciunas, now that you've got a second game with Levine. There is a gaping hole still on this team that we're going to get to in a few minutes. And I'm not so sure. Doug Christie is going to have to get creative to fill it. And it's going to be a very touch and go kind of thing. Hopefully the Kings do not end up in situations where they need to have extended runs without Malik Monk on the floor, but we'll hit it in a few minutes. But before that, let's get back to the chat, and then we will get into the content. Again, if you want to call the show, love to have you. You are more than welcome to call. Get up in here. Why is my whiteboard not there? That is weird. 1 second. Let's get this fixed. Sorry, I'm doing the haunted horse where I'm doing tech, but I'm explaining what I'm doing. I got to get better at that. See, we're growing. It's a work in progress. Okay, there's the score from the last night. Let's get to the score when Portland and the Kings last met. It was the day after Thanksgiving, and it was not a good showing by the Kings. Portland is one of the bigger teams in the NBA, believe it or not. So the Kings are going to have to contend with another long team tonight. I don't expect Portland to shoot the ball the way that Orlando did last night, but you never know. You never know. Light the beam. Agree with you, brother. Thank you, Flores. Sacktown's ready to get down. Yeah, absolutely. I think so. I mean, you got to be happy if you're a Kings fan right now. Now, I get it's a little bit of melancholy. I get it's change. Change is always different. Doesn't mean it's bad, but it's change. However, the last two trade deadlines, this team stood pat, man. And even moving De'Aaron Fox, that was something, right? That was something. That was a big something. Grant and Jerry both said it could possibly be the biggest trade in Kings history. But the Kings weren't done there. We speculated that they got all those picks. They did it early because they wanted to flip them. And sure enough, they did. Hell, there was a lot of teams looking for a big man. And I am shocked that the market did not bear more for Valanciunas. Now, that dropped yesterday. The trade today that dropped literally seconds before the deadline was the Kings sending out Alex Len, sending out Colby Jones, and a second-round pick. Let me explain that to you. The second-round pick is to compensate Memphis for Colby Jones's salary because he's under contract for another couple of years. It's a going rate, but it opens up another roster spot for the Kings in exchange for Jake LaRavia. Jake LaRavia is a 6'7" forward from Memphis. In fact, why don't we bring his picture up really quick? A guy that doesn't get a ton of playing time. Nape's had the opportunity to talk to one of his good friends who actually does the radio coverage for the Grizzlies. Said he's a guy that doesn't play great defense, but he's a smart basketball player, can shoot the three, very capable. But you got to remember in Memphis, he's playing behind a couple of really good forwards. Jalen Wells has been an unexpected pickup for them, second-round guy that's been playing out of his mind, an argument that you could throw his name into the conversation for Rookie of the Year, and I wouldn't be mad at it if you did. And then also Jaren Jackson Jr., hell of a player, right? All-star this year. So he gets an opportunity to come here in Sacramento, gives you some more forward depth. Now that you got Valanciunas, you're switching out Len for a forward. Great. Awesome. Good with it. Low risk move. He's only making about what Alex Len was, actually just under what Alex Len was. His contract expires at the end of the year. So what do you have to lose by this move? I like it by Monte McNair. Now, last night we talked about the problems the Kings have at point guard. They don't have a good backup point guard. They're running point guard by committee. And when you run let me clarify, they're running point guard by committee when Malik Monk is out of the game. That was a huge hole last night. Huge hole when Monk got into foul trouble. It's a big problem for the Kings. Nobody could effectively bring the ball up and run the offense. The only guys capable of doing that are DeMar DeRozan outside of Malik Monk. DeMar DeRozan, Domantas Sabonis in the half court, Zach LaVine, and you could throw Keon in, but I'm going to say no. He's not every game, here and there, maybe. So what problem is, if you've got to take those other guys away from doing what they do best to start the offense and to be leading that through, that takes away from the team. So a lot of people hoping the Kings would go out, get a point guard. They did not. However, good news is there's going to be a buyout market. Is there a guy that suits the Kings' fancy? Guys are going to get waived. The Kings still have a lot of room to play with when it comes to filling the roster spots and room. So I would expect the Kings to be active in that market. A lot of people throwing around a couple of names. I'm going to do it because this dude has called a couple of these things that the Kings have done. Should say a couple of these things that he wanted the Kings to do, and they've come to fruition. Ben Simmons is a name that's been coming up. Jerry Reynolds on our 4 o'clock show said DeLon Wright. I kind of like that one. Not going to lie to you. But will the Kings be able to land one of those guys? And with this new CBA, this is the significance of the new CBA. I'll put this up for you. So there are penalties to being in the luxury tax. Those are your luxury tax teams. Now that the trade deadline has gone and passed, meaning those 7 teams are not allowed to sign a player that was waived after the trade deadline and had a pre-existing salary of $12.8 million or more. 12.8, I believe, is the mid-level exception. So that's a big key. Now, I get it only takes a segment of the teams away, but the spirit of this rule was basically to not have these buyout players like your Ben Simmons in past deadlines, your Drew Holidays, guys like that. Go sign Russell Westbrook. Go sign immediately with a contender that's already got 3 or 4 guys that's way over the luxury tax. It's supposed to spread that wealth out. So those teams are not going to be eligible to do it. The Kings are eligible to do it. By the way, when it comes to the luxury tax, this is an estimate. This is an estimate. It is not updated. It was updated as of February 2nd. The Kings are in the neighborhood of getting ready to get a payment, probably around $15 million, because a couple of these teams got out of it. But how the hell are you feeling if you are Phoenix right now? You don't do anything at the deadline. You're floating around the play-in 8 seed, 7 seed, and you're paying $164.3 million in tax. Brutal. Absolutely brutal. So this is why teams were scrambling to get under. So we will monitor the buyout. We'll see what happens, and we'll see if the Kings are able to pick somebody up. Now, in the interim, in between now and then, what are the Kings going to do to bridge the gap? Are they going to stick with Devin Carter? What do you think the Kings should do? I get the defense is a problem too, but you got to have somebody that can bring the basketball up. Flores, thanks, brother. Ryan, great NBA deadline coverage. Appreciate it. My pleasure. Thanks for hanging in there with me. We were doing it on the fly. We wanted it to be up to the minute current, and I think we did a good job of integrating the sound from some of the other outlets that were going live, mainstream outlets, and the press conferences yesterday. So it's been a lot of fun. Thank you all for being around and hanging with us for it. We plan on doing much more stuff like that. And by the way, this is so important. I want you to remember that when things happen with the Kings, this is coming from Grant and I. When things happen with the Kings, make sure you're subscribed either to this channel, if you don't like that on YouTube, or you're following us on the X. Preferably you're doing both. Both are free. We're not going to hound you. You're not going to get crazy amounts of email. We're not stealing your information. But anytime we go live, it'll give you a notification. And I'm telling you this because if something happens with the Kings, there's a big story if they sign a guy on the buyout market, if they cut somebody, much like we did through this trade deadline, we plan on being here the exact same. So just know if something happens with the Kings, check your phones. You can turn to us. We will certainly be here. So last night, first night for Zach LaVine, a little bit of a rough outing for him. They were all feeling each other out to a degree, trying to get things right. Now, right out of the gate, the defense was atrocious. The Kings only got 6 stops. Let me repeat that. The Kings got 6 stops in the first quarter. That's awful. Orlando's a team that only scored 99. I believe they had won 1 game in their last 10 and scored 99 in their last game against Golden State. The Kings didn't even get back-to-back stops in the first quarter. They make a much nicer run in the second quarter, halftime 62-60, and then the wheels fell off in the third quarter. And there's a few reasons for that. Orlando just got hot. What can I say? That's for sure. But the Kings were turning the ball over. It was sloppy. They lost their energy. They were trying to figure it out on the fly. For a guy like Zach LaVine, he had not played in a couple of games. You just had a new baby. You travel out. You're doing press conferences. It throws stuff off. They had an extended shoot around that day as well. So this second night of back-to-back is a big deal for him. For me, in many ways, this is the debut of this team tonight. They're going to be more locked in. Valanciunas is going to be available to go. Jerry thinks he could play anywhere from 20 to 25 minutes, and I agree with him. And I think there's a lot of different things you can do with him, which we'll get to. First, let's go hit up the phones. Yo, GP, brother, I stood up for you on the 4 o'clock show. I hope you know that.
Hey, Ryno. Yeah, I heard that, man. The link was just going crazy, man. It kept cutting me out. It was just going in and out. Can you hear me okay right now?
GP? I'm just kidding with you, brother. I got you. Yeah, I got you. I was messing with you.
All right. Yeah, man. As far as the earlier show, man, I agree with you guys. Spot on what's going on with that. I don't want to bring that up before the game. But I'm looking forward to the new additions, and I'm looking forward to Zach obviously having a better game than last game, and just the overall team, playing better defensively. And I know you guys are talking about Ben Simmons in here because we do need a point guard. Man, rather than Ben Simmons, I'd rather have somebody who's going to shoot the ball, like an Isaiah Thomas, honestly, or somebody who's just gifted offensively. I think we do need his defense, but however, I think there could be another person in the buyout. As far as
really
go ahead.
quick, we asked Grant and Jerry about IT, and their opinion was
I get it. Defensively, he can be a liability at times. I do think we do need somebody who's maybe a little bit on the veteran side, but does bring a good presence on the defensive end as well.
did we lose GP? We legit lost you this time, brother. I get the gist of what he's saying. You need somebody on the defensive side too. You just need, look, this isn't going to be a defensive team. They're going to have defenses and they're going to have defense in flashes. They're going to get some stops. They'll stack them. They'll get some kills, which is 3 stops in a row. They'll get out in transition. They'll run. They'll have some fun, but they're not a great defensive team. The Kings are going to have to outscore you at this point, which is fine. Not a big deal. They've got better 3-point shooting now. They've got different options available to them, especially with Valanciunas. Hell, the Kings could run a lineup with Valanciunas, Sabonis, and Murray on the front line. Foreseeably, they could run that lineup. And it could work. They can do different things out of it. But as for the point guard position, I don't need somebody that needs to score 20 points a game. I don't need a guy that's going to be an all-NBA stopper. I just need a solid point guard. I need somebody that can bring the ball up and handle pressure. I need somebody that can get the Kings into the offense, that can maybe rebound a little bit. That's what we need, and that's what you don't have right now. In fact, it's been the biggest hole on this Kings roster for the last 2.5 years. The Kings have not had a true point guard that can play on this roster for the last 2.5 years. That includes your stars. So whoever it may be, it's got to be somebody that can do it. And I can tell you right now, Devin Carter ain't that dude. Back to GP really quick.
Yeah. Hello.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Devin Carter's having a rough outing, man, so far, and I don't blame the guy. He didn't get much time before the season or even with the team. I think you're right. He needs to be sent to the G League, and we need a guard who's somewhat like a veteran, like we had picked up Rondo. Rondo came in. He instantly gave us that point guard role, defense, a good IQ. Hey, that could be a Ben Simmons in disguise, man. I'm not sure, but definitely we need somebody with some high IQ right now.
I hear you. GP, appreciate it, brother. Thanks for kicking us off.
Hey, thank you, bro.
GP always doing a good job here on the channel, kicking us off. Oh, man. You guys don't want to know who's on hold. There's somebody on hold that I know many of you want to hear from. Who do you think that person is? I'll let the chat marinate for a second, as Adam Silver would say. Good old Adam Silver.
I want to let it marinate a bit.
We'll let it marinate, Adam. By the way, we've got you all night. Jerry's going to be with us at halftime. Grant, he's good. He'll be here. Definitely post game. guessing he'll make it through halftime as well. And then don't forget post-game, obviously taking your calls tonight after this one right here on the channel, Kings and Blazers. This is always a really close game. It doesn't matter when they play. It is always a good game between these two teams for the most part. Oh, man. Who do you think it is, chat? Y'all have been calling for this person. I'm going to leave it up to the chat. BG, bring in PK. The Mat Man, please no PK. Brian, PK. John, PK. BJ, bring him in. Jacob, PK. Holy crap. The people want PK. All right, PK. You know the rules of engagement. All right, buddy. I don't have a dump button. We're keeping it relatively clean. Okay? PK, I'm going to give the people what they want.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Stop the pace!
introducing
PK.
Well. I'm going to start with, by the way, hello, Ryan. Hello, chat. I'm going to start with this. Kings second half yesterday, everybody can use whatever word they want for a word bad. I'm going to use bad because I'm going to keep it clean, but it was worse than bad. When Monk came out of the game, we looked atrocious. And what Levine said after the game, Levine in the post commentary, he said he was so uncomfortable playing the point guard. So do you think that without Fox running point at times and Levine being so uncomfortable running the point, this could be an issue? Also, who would run point if Monk is not in the game?
It's a great question, PK. I'm going to let you know here on the backside. Appreciate it. I got your back. I'm going to give you that take right now.
Thank you. Go Kings.
All right, brother. Good job by PK. All right. Look, we got through it. It's a good call. PK didn't even want to say anything past bad. I'll let Darko say
It's a complete crap.
It was. It was not good last night when Monk left the game. And, you know, one adjustment that Doug Christie made in Minnesota that worked was he put Domas back in when the T-Wolves made a run. Even though Domas had 4 fouls, he put him back in at the end of the third quarter and at least triaged the Kings to get to the fourth and then make another run where they were able to get some stops. He didn't do that last night with Monk. And the guys were dribbling the ball off their feet. You're asking Levine, who realistically, when a guy... So how do I put this? Most teams run very similar offenses. Now, the nuances within the offenses are different, but you're dealing with professionals that have been playing basketball at a professional level for a very long time. That includes college. College is pros now. It was in the past too, for all intensive reasons or purposes. So that being said, when it's your first game with the team, to ask Zach LaVine to be bringing up the ball in that position, I get why he'd be uncomfortable. Now, I listened to the postgame. I don't remember him saying it in those terms, but I believe it. I could see where he would think that. I don't know if I believe it because PK said it, but I get it. I totally get it. And so here's where I'm at with all that. If you've been on the show the last, day, then you know where I'm going. If you haven't been on the show, I'll do it really quick. I think Devin Carter can turn out to be a really good player, okay? But one of the things the Kings have done, and it goes back to what I said before. I said the Kings have not had a true point guard on this roster, including De'Aaron Fox, including Malik Monk. Now, Malik's their best playmaker, hands down. They haven't had a true point guard. And with their drafts, what have they done? They've drafted these in-between guards that aren't point guards, that aren't two guards. They can maybe play a little bit of three. right? It's just been kind of weird. And Devin Carter is smack in the middle of it. He is one of those guards. Put him in the Davion Mitchell category. Put him in the Colby Jones category. And so now you are at a point that you have traded away De'Aaron Fox. Get it. We were hoping you would get a point guard on the back end of the deal. You did not. And Devin Carter is being called upon to run that backup point guard job. And same thing with Keon Ellis. Keon is not a point guard. He's not. And that's what you saw happen when the wheels came off the wagon. And those guys were asked to do it. Zach LaVine was asked to do it to a degree, as PK said. Domantas Sabonis can do it. But guess what? Domas should be doing what he did in the first quarter. Be under the hoop, dominate, clean everything up, eat, big man. That's what he's best at. And when you ask him to be on the perimeter, yeah, he can do it. It's good once in a while. He shoots the three, but it takes away from the team. It helps the team, but I think it hurts the team a little bit more in what you're missing out on. So here's my point. Devin offensively, not there. He's not. I think we can all agree on that. I am not ready to give up on Devin. What this young man needs is exactly what some of you are putting. BJ, he needs reps. He absolutely needs reps. He did not have I'm not going to say a head shave either. They can do whatever they want with their hair. But he needs reps. He didn't have a preseason, didn't play in summer league. He gets thrown into a team in the middle of the season, and obviously his shot's not there. He's forcing things. He's putting his teammates in weird positions offensively because the press that the teams are putting on him, because it's on film. Just put a little pressure on Devin. His ball handling is not there. And it's not his fault. He wasn't a point guard in college, but he's being asked to play point guard here because Monty McNair in the front office has some fixation on these in-between guards. So here's what I'm doing if I'm Doug Christie. If I am Doug Christie, I'm sitting Devin down right now. If I need him in spots for defense, fine. You put him in those spots where it's defensive first, but it's on the floor with Malik Monk. It's not on the floor without Malik Monk. And here's what I'm doing. I am turning to Mason Jones. I've covered Mason for the last year. I've talked with him a ton of times. Dude has an incredible energy about him. And when I say I'm turning to Mason Jones, I'm saying like when you need those bridge minutes. I'm not saying you're going to play Mason Jones 15 to 20 minutes a game, but those 7 to 10 minutes that Devin Carter's been getting in that position, they're going to Mason. Mason's on a two-way contract. His game, his ball handling is smooth enough for what needs to be done. To initiate the offense, he can run some pick and roll. He ain't going to run it like Monk. He knows how to find guys. He has a good court vision, and the game is not too fast for Mace. The game is not too fast for him at all. He's got the most experience. So he did lose a lot of weight. You're absolutely right. He has. He's put, since he got traded to Stockton in Sacramento, he has really worked his tail off. And he is such a good back end guy for the team. Again, like I always tell him when I see him, I'm always like, dude, I your energy is contagious. I'm like, I can't help but meet you at your energy. Like, what's up, Mace? You know? So he's a good dude. He's an awesome dude. But besides that, he's ready for those 7 to 10 minutes. Devin Carter is not. And I think it's starting to get a little bit awkward on that bench with Doug Christie and Devin. And if you want to keep things as smooth as possible, give the minutes to Mason Jones, assign Devin to Stockton for a couple of games, for a week, whatever it may be, just like you had assigned Colby Jones. Now, the conversation we had before the trade deadline was, well, maybe it's Colby Jones, but Colby's two in between. Mace is a point guard. Mace is a point guard that can shoot. So I'm giving them to Mason. I think you have to give them to Mason. I might sound like a crazy person, but I like to think I know my basketball and I can read a basketball room, and we're kind of getting to that point. where Devin is an offensive liability. So we'll see what the Kings do there. But PK, until you are able to sign somebody on the buyout, that's what I'm doing. And again, not 20 minutes, not 15 minutes. It is like maybe 7 to 10 minutes. Could be 4 minutes, could be 5 minutes. Enough to bridge the gap. Enough to give Malik Monk a breather. Enough not to throw things off where Levine's got to bring it up. Debo's got to bring it up. Because here's the most important thing. The Kings want to play with pace. You can't do that with Debo bringing the ball up. You can't do that with Levine bringing the ball up. Okay, Mason is the closest thing you have to an NBA point guard outside of Malik Monk on the roster. Outside of the core of this team, Mason is closer to an NBA point guard right now as we sit. And I watch him closely. I'm in the front row on the floor in Stockton watching him. I'm telling you, because I've watched him and Devin, he is closer to a point guard right now that can bridge the gap than Devin Carter. You can argue that he's not a full NBA point guard, and you are right. The Kings bench is closer to a high-level G League bench, or at least before the trade deadline it was, than an NBA bench. But Mason is ready for it. I'm telling you. Stockton runs all the same things. Mason runs the same pace down there. That's where Doug needs to turn in the interim. It's what I'm going with. Speaking of Doug, we're going to get back to your comments. Dennis, we'll get your call on the other side. Doug Christie, very disappointed last night. We're going to look over some of the standings right now in the West. Also, we'll look at what Portland is doing while we listen to Coach Christie.
Yeah, unacceptable in a lot of different ways, especially on the defensive end. Must be better. Must play with a level of energy, intensity, physicality, aggressiveness that I want to see, and I think that they begun to expect from themselves. But that wasn't it. I mean, you can use all the different.
G Money, I don't think you understand what I'm saying. I am not advocating that Mason Jones is a full-time NBA point guard. I am advocating that he is the closest thing that can bridge the gap right now as an NBA point guard for this team until they get the buyout market. Do you realize what I'm saying? You're making the best out of a bad situation. That's what I am saying, G Money. That is what I am saying.
Excuses, and I'm not going to points. Unacceptable. 51% from them from the three-point line. Unacceptable. Yeah, here we go.
Doug, how much of tonight and Levine's debut was this just a feel-out process of just guys trying to figure out where he likes to be, where they like to be, vice versa? How much of that was a feel-out process for y'all?
I mean, it's like that's part of what's going to happen. We have to find our way as a unit. They have to fill Zach out. Zach has to fill them out. But that's, I'm not using any of that as an excuse. There's a level of energy that we have to make sure that we play with even through that process. Like there's going to be a process. I am first to claim that, but at the same time, there's also an intensity in different things that we have to at least, especially, on the defensive end of the floor. Offensively, we got really good offensive players. They'll find their way, but on the defensive end is where we have to make sure that we're locked in, communicating at a high level and making sure that we're physical.
Doug, the turnovers obviously tonight played a pretty big factor. Some of us were talking about how, it looked like for a while there, you guys just had a lot less shots than the Magic, and part of that was the turnovers. How important is the turnover game for you guys, limiting those? And on the ball movement side, it seemed a little stagnant there. How much of that is, like Brandon was talking about, integrating Levine, and how much of that is a concern for you?
I mean, I'm a share the basketball guy, so I want our assists to be towards the 30 number. That means that we have to spray the ball, and you have to get a Magic credit. They're long and rangy, but you have to take care of the basketball. You can't give a team that is that good, that big, that athletic, that many extra possessions than you and expect to not only win a ball game, but be in a ball game. So, yeah, I want to see the ball hopping around, and it wasn't at the clip that we expect, and we'll be better. I mean, that's part of it. They're trying to, you bring a guy in, you show him some offensive sets, but at the same time, you want to play in flow. You want them to learn how to play with each other, and that part takes a second.
Two questions for you, DC. The first one is Malik has obviously a lot more responsibility upon himself now as a floor general and facilitator. On a night like tonight where he gets in foul trouble or God forbid he's out with injury or anything like that, how can the rest of the team do a better job of continuing to facilitate, get downhill, touch the paint like he does so well?
See, like even that, because like he goes out of the game, Zach's in the game, and now we're saying you never run offense and you got to figure it out. So that's where we play through DeMar. We can also play through Domas, and that's the flow part of it. There are a couple sets that we can get into, but even the sets is like there's many things that I can tell you, but I know from playing that when you're out there, it's a read, and that's how I want them to play. I don't want them to run plays. I want them to learn how to play. And there's a big difference in that.
And then the second one, DC, is
So DC addressed it a little bit there. Here's where I want to go. I want to go to the whiteboard. A lot of people asking what to expect tonight from the Kings. One, I expect to see much better energy. I think you are definitely going to see much better energy from this team. The other thing that I expect to see is the Kings, to Doug Christie, to mix the lineups up a little bit. Play with what you have with Valanciunas. Trial and error. It's a big team that you're playing tonight and a team that's playing well. The Kings have to get some good Keon minutes tonight, and you're going to have to get something out of Keegan Murray. Hands down. Get Keegan involved early. And there's a couple ways that I can see this going down as we go to the whiteboard really quick. Really important. One thing that has been missing from the Kings for a while, which they are capable of doing, they did a little bit during the Beam Team year. They did at times last year with Harrison Barnes. It's this. It's the high-low. The high-low is so important. This was a play last night, and I'm using this as an example, but imagine this is Valanciunas right here, a guy that can spread the floor out. Maybe he's beyond the three-point line. You get Domas here at the free throw line, and really both of them are exchangeable here. But it's a high-low action where you seal off this defender right here, and the pass comes over the top. And so you can run that a couple of different ways. You can run it between Domas. You can run it with Valanciunas. Both are capable passers. You can run that with Domas and Keegan Murray. You can run that Valanciunas, Keegan Murray. You can do switches, or you can make the defense switch to get the preferred matchups that you want. Now, the other thing that you have out of this, couple of things. Let's say the ball comes into Domas here, and he gets covered up. You get two defenders that come swarm Domas. As soon as that ball goes there, now you have two open corners, or you have cutters that can come to the basket right here, and you put your good shooters in each corner. So there's these different things that you can run based off of the pick and roll, different sets. There's another set that the Kings run that's similar to this, where they start out here at the free throw line. They set screens for each other right here, and then you come up, and then you're getting a pick and roll right here, where you're coming around, this guy's cutting. So there's a lot more you can do now to challenge the defense, even if the game is not running at a high pace. In the half court, I'm confident that you are going to see much more out of the Kings, better things offensively tonight than you saw last night, in my opinion. So let me know what you guys think the final score is going to be in this one. We're going to get ready to get you out to the game. Don't forget, we are here at halftime. Jerry Reynolds joining us at the half. So give me your final scores. What's it going to be? Who you got? I think the Kings win this game. I really do think the Kings win this game, regardless of the Kings being on the second night of a back-to-back. I think you're going to see much better effort. I don't know that the on-ball defense can be any worse than it was last night. I think that will certainly improve as well tonight. So which way you going, Kings or Trailblazers? I know where Haunted Horse is going. It's such an important game. Such an important game tonight for the Kings not to drop under 500. So, like I said, we are going to be back halftime. Looking forward to that. Jerry Reynolds will be joining us. Dennis, Dennis left. All right, my bad. Let's see. Todd, Kings 119-114. Ryno, do you trust Monk's ball handling through the crucial times? Yes, I do. The ball handling is not what I worry about with Monk. It's the decision-making sometimes, but I think he's going to be just fine. Put it in the book and send Mason to the line in the Napes voice. I see you. You know, Napes has been yelling too much. His voice got clearer when he started yelling last night, but you never know with that guy. He could be on the beach and somebody doesn't pick up their trash and he's like,
roll up those sleeves to your freaking neck
and pick up that trash now. Do it. I think you will see better spacing tonight. Louie, what up? 121-117. I'm going to assume that's Kings. Yeah, Louie says Kings. Flores, 121-120. Horse, what do you got? You think the Kings have too many new pieces? Portland didn't move anybody. They're hot, 9 out of 10. So, okay, you're going to go Portland. Fair enough. Horse, are you going to watch the game tonight? Haunted Horse, are you going to watch the game? Wait, Haunted Horse is on the line. Here we go. Let's go to Haunted Horse. Haunted Horse, are you going to watch the game tonight?
Let's go see a porno.
Oh, dude, that's not appropriate, Haunted Horse.
That's terrible.
What are we doing, man? We can't do that here. That's like PK stuff. Chris, 115, 112. Those other boys are too athletic. All right, we'll see. We will see. I have it on now. It's on local TV. I know I'm messing with you, buddy. All right, we're going to get you out to the game. Hey, huge thanks to Bennett. BG, thanks for being out there, man. Appreciate that very much. Big thanks to our other sponsors as well. Don't forget the one and only Mr. Jerry Reynolds with us at the half. Can't wait to have him breaking down the first 24 minutes. He's pulling double duty today, and Grant will be here as well. Kings looking to stay above 500. If you were with me earlier today, I used the analogy of the pants. If your pants are too tight and you're wearing a 34, you don't want to put the 36s on because then you feel like there's extra room. That's dropping under 500. Dropping under 500 is putting the 36s on. Don't do it. You got to stay in the 34s. You got to win this one and remain over 500. We will see you at the half. Enjoy the first 24 minutes. Out.